Thanks.
So you're going to use this every day? Or the statement?
Oh. Can I have a statement?
For you lah. English and Bahasa.
Do the policy. Nanti wait sebenarnya queue untuk live. Wait sebenarnya queue untuk live. Wait sebenarnya queue untuk live.
Why you ship all the girls? Yeah. Panas ya? Panis. Chop. He's showing all the messages. Ogos. Yeah, the more picture in the front.
So we are ready here. So we wait for the queue.
So good. Make sure your phone to mute it.
Mic test.
the NGO. Then leader.
May pass the placard over. Pass the placard to the back. Afwan Lukman kan?
I think
Anyone else decide? Ya, mungkin.
can we invite other NGO? Is there any more?
Any more NGO?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, bermula.
Awang.
Sudah on, eh?
Ya.
Belum. Can, if you think we are good looking enough.
Alex.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat petang semua. Terima kasih kepada rakan-rakan NGO yang sudi hadir pada petang ini. Juga terima kasih kepada rakan-rakan media yang sudi bersama dengan bersih dan dalam anjuran kempen Vote Local dengan kerjasama Astro AWANI menjelang PRN tidak lama lagi 12 Ogos. Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya menjemput Encik Thomas, pengerusi bersih untuk membacakan media seterusnya melancarkan kempen Vote Local.
Terima kasih Saudara Salami dan selamat datang, salam sejahtera, salam bersih ke sidang media ini. Saya akan dengan izin guna bahasa Inggeris untuk baca dari kenyataan kita. I will use English to just share from our statement that we will be giving out to all of you this afternoon. Now, when it comes to elections, Brissay focus on a few things. Obviously, election monitoring is the thing that we are known for, and these are things that we must do. Monitoring both on the ground and also online. Especially nowadays. But the other thing that we also focus on is raising a higher voter turnout. Because for us, election is only meaningful when the voter turn out in good number. This is democracy. Democracy is not meaningful even if you have a process, the law to allow people to vote, but people are not interested, and the government or the party or candidates that are elected on very small number of voters, so it doesn't fully represent, though it is a legitimate outcome. So for us, our interest is really to constantly remind voters the importance of voting, coming out to vote in a democracy. Now, for this particular 6 states election, this is in particular very, very important, simply because we know from past historical data, states election don't get as much priority from the voters. Now, up to 2018, there was only one state that hold their own election without the general election, and that was Sarawak. But of course, we know that after the Sheraton move happened, all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. We saw at least 7 change of state government. We saw multiple state election, Sabah, Malacca, Johor, and then the general election G15 was called in November last year. Early, it wasn't full term yet, but Prime Minister Ismail Sabri at that time decided to dissolve Parliament on the 10th of October last year. But the decision was made by the 6 state government because they still have at least another 8 months to go before their term full. They decided not to hold the state election together. So then we have effectively a decoupling of state election from the general election. Now, all this while, state elections numbers look good because it's part of the general election. When you go to vote in most states, not all, except for those in KL, you get only one vote. But for most states, we get two ballots, right? One for the federal, one for the state. But this time, it's just state. So our real concern is that the turnout for this 6 state election would not be high. If we look at Sarawak, we look at Johor, Malacca or Sabah, it is about 10-15% lower than the general election. So general election G15 we had 74%. So this time, if we do not make any effort, as a society to encourage people to vote, we may be looking at less than 60% voter turnout for this state election. Of course, the election will still go on and the result will still be valid, but the participation, the endorsement of whoever win will be less. So, Brese, together with civil society and our partner Astro, AWANI, decided to come out with this campaign called Vote Local. Vote Local, and I will explain to you why using this theme Vote Local. Is because up to this point, I would say the majority of the narrative in the campaign by the politician and the parties is that this is like a referendum on the federal government. Issues that are raised are national issue. The 3 R's, the economy, the cost of living, and all these things. Very little focus is placed on the fact that these are state elections, So the focus and narrative, and even the campaigners are national leaders. So we feel that we want to basically once again in this campaign put the focus back on the fact that these are state elections. These are state elections and they are very important because new state government will be elected. It won't be the Prime Minister getting elected. It won't be even Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin or Hadi Awang getting elected, but it will be the state government. And why are state government important? They are important because they are the one who appoint our local government or local authority. Pihak berkuasa tempatan dilantik oleh kerajaan negeri. Sesiapa yang jadi kerajaan negeri ada kuasa untuk melantik pihak berkuasa tempatan. And why that is important is because the local authority impact us directly. The moment you walk out the street, look behind the alley, rubbish collected or not, who to call? Your MP? No. Not even your ADUN. It should be your local council. But the fact is that, this local council, local authority are not accountable to us, but accountable to the state government. So if we want to see better services, better local businesses, better management of development in our community, we need to have a better state government. I feel very unhappy, I don't know about you, that these people who are running for state government is getting a free ride, They don't have to focus on their performance the last 5 years. They don't have to, make any meaningful promise for what they're going to do if they become state government, because they are riding on the coattail of the national leader. It is a national referendum. Well, I can tell you, whatever happened, it's not going to change the economic policy. It's not likely, I'm not saying impossible, to even change the government at the federal level. but or even impact the 3R issue or anything like that. But what will happen if people don't come out to vote for the state government they want, is that they may end up with a bad state government that appoint bad local authorities, local government, and then they will start smelling the rubbish around the community, to put it very bluntly. So we can't complain. Huh? If we don't do that, come out and vote, we can't complain. So our goal in Vote Local is really to run campaigns on social media and different platforms and do different activities to push for a high voter turnout. Our target is 70%. Now, that may not seem high, but if I say data shows that state elections are 10 to 15% less, so if nothing is done, it could be 59 to 64%. So we are trying to push it a bit higher so that the will of the people will be demonstrated in the government elected. So we are asking the public, asking the media organization to work together with us. We really want to turn the spotlight back on the state government. They are not going to get a free ride and get elected by not offering their ideas for the state and by riding on the coattails of national leaders and government, but they are going to get elected because they have to make commitments to what are they going to do with these 6 states. Okay, so work with us, in how we manage the narrative. Yes, some narrative are always sensational, but I think let's remind ourselves, these are state elections. Ask questions about their plans for the states, for local authorities, and what are their commitment to their states. So these are the things that I think we want to do, and I would want to ask my executive director, Kok Hin, here to just tell us maybe some of the programs that we plan to run. It's not limited to this, but we are working with different partners, and we are free to sense what is happening, but we will run these programs if nothing else.
Thank you, Thomas. Terima kasih rakan NGO and media yang sudi hadir despite the rain. Jadi untuk kali ini we are launching the #VoteLocal campaign ataupun dalam bahasa kebangsaan #UndiLocal bersama kerjasama Astro AWANI. Jadi akan ada beberapa program ataupun naratif yang kita akan cuba pakaikanlah. So antaranya kami akan mengadakan satu forum minggu depan untuk berbincang isu tempatan, isu sama ada PRN kali ini sepatutnya dijadikan so-called referendum on PMX Kerajaan Madani atau sepatutnya mengutamakan visi kerajaan negeri, mereka yang mahu mentadbir negeri, dan apakah wawasan mereka untuk negeri-negeri tersebut. Apakah rancangan parti, what is your party's program for this cause, and juga mengetengahkan isu-isu lokal di dalam media juga, sebab kita bekerjasama dengan Astro AWANI. Mereka juga akan menggunakan hashtag dan pendekatan yang serupa untuk mengetengahkan isu-isu tempatan. So selain daripada pengumuman kerajaan persekutuan ataupun apa-apa isu 3R yang mungkin korang akan nampak from time to time, we are hoping that with media support, not just Astro AWANI but all the media here, we can all use local narrative to cover this state election. So bila korang interview politician contohnya kan, so bukan sahaja untuk bertanya pasal isu 3R ataupun apakah komen YB tentang apa yang YB ni cakap, tetapi juga dasar kerajaan negeri, track record kerajaan negeri, isu tempatan apa yang penting. Jadi ini antara di media dan forum, dan juga di social media kami akan menyediakan beberapa video So we will be releasing a few videos centered on local issues, state issues, and also infographics. So dalam videos, infografik, hashtag, dan keempat, kami menggalakkan orang awam and members of the public to also use the hashtag vote local dan juga hashtag undi local, dan tag YB ataupun those who want to be your YBs, tag them to say, okay, this is the local issue that I'm concerned about. What is your stand? Apakah pendirian anda? Contohnya environment, contohnya perancangan bandar, urban development, planning. Because it's very terdapat kuasa lah kerajaan negeri dan PBT untuk buat planning. So what is your position? What is your plan for this town? Are you opposed to this development or not? Property dan sebagainya. Business contohnya. So itu antara 4 pendekatan 4-prong approach lah that will be using for this vote local campaign. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih saudara Kokin. Dan sekarang saya nak jemput saudari Chawing untuk bahas dalam bahasa Mandarin supaya rakan-rakan media Mandarin juga dapat sedikit fahaman.
感谢大家的到来。今天竞选委和我们的一些公民社会的团体，还有 Astro AWANI 推出这个vote local 的运动。那这个运动的主要目的是要推高第6州选举的这个投票率，因为我们知道，如果州选举和国会没有一起进行的话，一般上州选举的这个投票率会比国会的低10到15%，所以如果我们上一届的这个国州选举的话是74%的话，那如果我们这次没有推动这样子的一个运动，我们会看到一个非常低的州选举的投票率。所以我们今天推动这个运动，是希望可以推高这个6州选举的投票率。那我们看到现在有很多的这个论述是着重在这个6州选举是这个马来西亚对联合政府的这个公投，但是我们希望把这一次的这个舆论拉回到这个州选举的重点。我们希望带出的讯息是，这个其实是一个州选举，那州政府对我们的这个社区的发展和我们周遭的环境是有非常重大的影响，所以我们要推动，也希望把这个论述拉回州选举的重要性，而不是以一个国家公投的一个对这个政府公投的一个论述当然，我们刚才我们的执行长也有宣布了几项措施我们希望呼吁群众马来西亚的人民，还有6州选举的选民回家投票。当然，也希望你们支持这一个运动 #我们的vote local 和 undi local 然后把这个讯息带到更远和更广。谢谢大家。
menyempurnakan majlis pelancaran kempen vote lokal, Bersih ada sediakan video sebagai simbolik pelancaran. Kita boleh gunakan ruang.
coalition of key civil society organizations and individuals in Penang to support the Vote Local campaign. It is a great call. Thank you, Basir, for initiating this campaign to highlight local and state issues. Yeah, for the current state election campaign, Penang Forum would like to call on all the contesting parties and candidates to talk about their policy ideas and solutions to the long-standing local and state issues, and to stop greenwashing the issues, green as in environmental green, and green as in fear-mongering about the political green wave. Yeah, we want real and practical solutions for sustainable development. We no longer can accept the type of plan that sacrifices the local communities to the vested interests. So please put the interests of the people first, not your developer friends. And the traffic congestion in Penang, I think many people have visited Penang would know, is worsening due to the still broken public transport system in Penang. Despite 3 terms of uninterrupted 15 years of DAP-led Pakatan Rakyat and then the Pakatan Harapan state government, we also lost a decade of opportunity to properly develop our public transport after the Hakro Transport Master Plan was released and endorsed by the state government in 2013. Why? The subsequent Penang South Circumvention Plan by SRS Consortium, favored by the state government, is a colossal mistake and disaster in the making. Though reduced from the 3 islands to 1 island, Penang is still threatened with a very large island reclamation project in the south of Penang Island, and this has nothing to do with the public transport anymore. So we understand, the caretaker government should not make major policy decisions during the election campaign, but nevertheless, projects which contradict with the electoral promises of sustainable development should indeed be abolished. Now that the controversial PJD link in Selangor has been cancelled, we also want to demand the new state government cancel the PSI land reclamation project entirely. The new state government should also think beyond the KL model, the public transport model of LRT and monorail to solve the Penang's traffic problems. Even the MRT in KL couldn't also save KL. So shockingly, the so-called progressive Penang is the last state in the Peninsula Malaysia without a gazetted local plan. This is also actually quite shocking to me after my colleagues told me, for the Penang Island and Sabang Perai, they have no gazetted plan. So Penang voters and the general public want to have greater say and better participation in the formulation of local plan. So we want voters to judge your politicians and government not by what they say, but what they do. And Penang voters, please ask the candidates important and difficult questions and make a rational decision. They come out and vote. Party logo itself is not the answer. We must do our homework. Thank you.
Next, I want to invite Taufik, spokesperson for DKL, a group that is advocating for mayoral election for KL, and to speak about the importance of participating in the state elections.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you, Jose. Once again, my name is Taufik. I'm the spokesperson from DKL. Sebagai rakyat KL, the only person in the room maybe, or the KL citizens kita yang tak ada second vote. and in other words, I'm jealous to see that negeri-negeri lain ada peluang untuk memilih kerajaan negeri-negeri lain ada hak untuk memilih siapa pemimpin di kawasan-kawasan masing-masing. Kalau rakyat suka, maka rakyat akan pilih pemimpin yang sama. Kalau rakyat tak suka, pemimpin itu akan dihukum dan diganti. Dan di dalam PRN ini juga ia memberi ruang dan peluang kepada semua untuk berpartisipasi di dalam arena politik tempatan. Tetapi di Kuala Lumpur kita hanya ada satu vote. Kita hilang hak untuk mengundi di kerajaan tempatan. Ini kerana PBT di Kuala Lumpur itu sendiri ditadbir secara terus daripada kerajaan pusat dan dilantik bukannya dipilih oleh rakyat Kuala Lumpur itu sendiri. Kuala Lumpur ini ibu negara. Kuala Lumpur ini juga adalah penyumbang kedua terbesar KDNK negara. Tetapi suara rakyat Kuala Lumpur itu hilang begitu saja kerana kita tidak ada kuasa untuk memilih kerajaan tempatan kita sendiri. Macam-macam isu. Saya rasa isu yang Kuala Lumpur hadapi lebih kurang sama juga dengan negeri-negeri lain yang hadapi, seperti jalan berlubang, seperti isu pengambil alih tanah, isu-isu pelisenan, and all of these are not being answered properly by the authority, and apa sahaja keputusan yang mereka buat tidak melibatkan rakyat Kuala Lumpur secara langsung. Jadi oleh kerana itu langkah-langkah accountability perlu diambil, dan seharusnya jurang di antara rakyat dan pentadbir itu kita harus dekatkan. Oleh itu, sebagai rakyat Kuala Lumpur, saya juga ingin memesan kepada semua yang ada hak untuk mengundi second vote ini, gunalah hak kamu sebaik-baiknya. Keluar mengundi di dalam pilihan raya tempatan sebaiknya. Ini adalah hak kamu sebagai rakyat. Jangan sia-siakan vote lokal. Terima kasih.
So, everything that has been shared by two friends basically highlight the importance of local authority. If we want to have a local authority that is responsive to the voices of the people, the only way we can have that is to hold the state government accountable. They are the one. They cannot push the buck and say it's not us, it is the state government that called the shots and created all these issues, whether it is the Penang reclamation issue or PJD link issue. These are the state government that come out with all these policies. So we call on voters to come out, and if you are happy with the performance of the state government that has been serving you, continue to vote for them. If you are not happy, express your unhappiness through the ballot box. This is your chance. All right. Next, I want to invite Dylan from Monash University Political Club. I'm not sure exactly what name. Maybe you can introduce yourself, Dylan. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dylan from the Monash Political Awareness Club, dan pertama sekali saya mengucapkan terima kasih kepada pihak Bersih kerana mengundang kami untuk melancarkan kempen ini sebagai wakil anak muda. Dan kami daripada Monpac merasa kempen seperti ini amat pentinglah bagi mendorong anak muda untuk keluar dan menunaikan tanggungjawab mereka sebagai pengundi. Dan saya boleh kata daripada pengalaman saya sendirilah, ramai mahasiswa yang masih kurang faham antara perbezaan kerajaan persekutuan dan kerajaan negeri, bahawa kerajaan negeri ada kuasa atas kerja-kerja awam, tanah, perhutanan, pertanian dan lain-lain, dan keputusan dan dasar yang dijalankan oleh kerajaan negeri sedikit sebanyak memberi impaklah kepada kehidupan kita seharian. Jadi kita sebagai satu kelab kesedaran politik, matlamat kami bukanlah sahaja untuk mendorong anak muda untuk mengundi, tapi supaya mereka dapat lebih memahamilah struktur kerajaan, isu lanskap politik negara, isu-isu sosial yang pada saya kurang diliputi dalam pendidikan sivik kita. Jadi saya menyuruh anak muda semua di luar sana untuk keluar mengundi, #undi lokal, sebab anda semua memberi peranan dalam menjamin masa depan anda sendiri. Terima kasih.
I would like to invite Ira from Ideas to share from US perspective on the importance of the state government election.
Terima kasih Saudara Thomas, Saudara Kohin kerana menjemput. Saya Ira Zahari dari Institute for Democracy and Economic Affairs, Ideas. Jadi saya ingin mengetengahkan beberapa isu pada hari ini tentang ketelusan di peringkat kerajaan negeri. Jadi kita semua tahu sekali setahun kita akan look forward kepada pengumuman belanjawan pada peringkat persekutuan oleh Menteri Kewangan di Parlimen. Tapi saya rasa mungkin tak ramai yang follow belanjawan pada peringkat negeri, ya. Jadi the state budget is something that is very important for all of us to pay attention to,
Dan saya rasa antara faktor penting kenapa kita semua kena turun mengundi ialah kerana kita perlu hold our state elected representatives accountable for spending at the state level. Dan untuk membantu para pengundi untuk menilai ketelusan belanjawan di peringkat negeri, ideas kami telah melakukan satu penyelidikan dari segi ketelusan belanjawan di peringkat negeri. Anda semua boleh melayari laman web Pantau wangkita.com, di mana kami ada menunjukkan skor ketelusan belanjawan di negeri-negeri di Malaysia. Dan untuk pengetahuan semua, Terengganu sebenarnya merupakan kerajaan negeri yang menunjukkan prestasi belanjawan, ketelusan belanjawan yang terbaik, followed by Selangor di tempat kedua. Kedua-dua negeri ini akan mengadakan pilihan raya negeri, jadi it's good to be informed of how transparent and accountable spending is at the state level. Yang kedua, ideas juga ingin mengingatkan bakal-bakal YB di peringkat negeri juga tentang kepentingan keadilan dan juga accountability dalam in the disbursement of peruntukan ADUN, Constituency Development Funds. Kita tahu dalam sistem politik kita dah lama membiasakan sistem di mana wakil rakyat di pihak pembangkang tidak mendapat peruntukan yang saksama, yang adil, dan ini sebenarnya adalah satu form of punishment to the voters, ya. Bila kita punya wakil rakyat yang di peringkat di sebelah pembangkang tidak mendapat peruntukan yang adil, yang saksama, maka pembangunan di kawasan tersebut juga tak adil dan saksama. Jadi saya ingin mengingatkan, ya, bakal-bakal YB kita bila menang nanti, bila dah form state government, we do urge you to have fair allocations for both government and opposition ADUNs and ideas together with Bersih and many other CSOs have been pushing for this for a long time, and we hope to work with the future state governments to hopefully have legislation and institutionalize equitable CDF at the state level. And thirdly, saya just nak echo juga rakan-rakan saya sebelum ini, iaitu untuk kita kembalikan perdebatan dan juga perbahasan ketika musim kempen yang sedang berlangsung ini kepada isu-isu di peringkat negeri dan juga kepada isu-isu polisi dasar khidmat kepada rakyat, dan bukan pada isu-isu kaum, agama dan sebagainya yang akan mendatangkan mudarat kepada rakyat Malaysia secara keseluruhannya. And I would urge all our political parties to stick to policy-based debates. Ada beberapa negeri saya nampak yang telah melancarkan, ada beberapa parti saya nampak telah melancarkan manifesto masing-masing. This is a positive development, dan saya harap semua pengundi boleh scrutinize the policy proposals by the respective parties and go out and vote and make that choice wisely on the 12th of August. Thank you.
Yeah, would you like to say something for sustainable PJ?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay, I think SPJA has been just very newly formed this year, and our goal, objectives, the main vision here is to gather people from Petaling Jaya mainly on sustainable development. And one of the core things that we are doing now is the PJD link, which is now the talk of the town. So we have been against this PJD link since 2013, from the time of KIDEX. And now it has turned name to PJD link, and it's been told that it's cancelled. So we are not just objecting, but we always give ideas, solutions, alternatives. If we don't want the highway, then what do we want? We want better public transportation. We want the minibuses to come back. we want to talk about the first and the last mile, first mile and last mile connectivity. We are talking about LRT and MRT. There's a lot of lines going on, in the Klang Valley. But why is the ridership not as high as what we wanted or what the developers wanted? Because we don't have the first mile and the last mile connectivity. People still want to drive the cars. Because we have to, I have to drive to the LRT station, park my car there, and then take the LRT to go wherever. And from then on, when I get off, I also have to look for another mode of transport to go to my last destination. So we are actually promoting and encouraging the local government to have a talk with us. We have been sending in a lot of applications for them to talk with us, invite the residents associations, invite SPJA, invite a few other NGOs that can promote and give ideas on how we can enhance an integrated public transportation system. And like what Saudari was saying just now about the peruntukan. So yeah, it's very true that when you are in the ruling government, you get your allocations. Then when you are on the opposite team, you don't get your allocations. So you will see in Petaling Jaya itself, when you drive around, you will see some parts are very well developed, very clean, and on the contrary, you will see something totally different in just Petaling Jaya itself, under the local authority MPPJ. So besides being a member of SPJA, I personally am a Residents Association chairman, and I've been in the Residents Association for 5 years, and there have been complaints that are not being taken up, not being settled, and the complaints actually become worse by the year. And recently, on the 24th of May, you read in the my house was affected, where a simple drain problem led to the entire rubble wall collapse. And that was and the officers came in and said it's no fault of ours, it's your fault. The rubble wall collapsed because of your fault, and they gave a lot of reasons. But when I asked them to give it to me in writing, everyone kept quiet. So finally, I told them, just let me know I'm going to repair or not. And finally, it was repaired by the local council. So what I'm trying to say here is, what are our elected reps doing? The councillors, what are the councillors doing? I always wish that the councillors are from the local community, because they will understand the problems of the local community. This morning, in fact, after trying so many times to settle garden refuse and general cleaning issues, which have been there for a few months, after trying and repeatedly with the solid waste management of MPPJ, I had to finally contact KDEB, who is their contractor, and they asked me to put in an official complaint. So I had just done the complaint this morning, and they've reverted to me that they will go and look around. In a mature neighborhood, in a elite neighborhood like mine, where I come from, Kampong Tungku, there are these KDEB workers don't collect garbage in time, they don't cut the grass properly, they cut the grass and they don't clear up after they just cut and they leave, and it blows into the drain, and the drain gets stuck. So there's a lot of problems that we have. We just have to look around. A lot of us, we just we are very focused on what we are doing. We are not sensitive to the environment. If you go around and you look, you will see there are so many problems. Why it's not being attended to is because we don't have the right people who know the geography of the place and to solve the problems. And lastly, I would like to talk about the PFI. Any developments that happens in Selangor, I am from Selangor, so we encourage the government to have an open tender and let the best developer win instead of awarding PFIs. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Primana. I think she just highlighted all the local issues that a resident will encounter in their areas. And who's responsible for this? Of course, the local government, but who appoints the local government? The state government. And that is why vote local, vote state government is important if we don't want to constantly face all these issues at the local level. So next, I want to invite Beverly, representing CSO platform to say a few words. Beverly is also Rose's vice chairperson for Sabah, but I'd like to say a few words for CSO platform.
Terima kasih Thomas, and yeah, Sabah is not going for PRN, otherwise I would have had a lot more to say, but as CSO Platform for Reform, we work on institutional reform. We concentrate on, one of them would be Parliament and State Legislative Assembly reforms, and under there, we are pushing for the local government election as well. So we find it that now we have a bit of hiccup, difficulties in dealing with the minister in charge, because we know his views are not for the local council election. But like what my comrades, my colleagues have said, it is important that we have our voice from the local context so that they understand our issues better. And we can go on complaining, but if we don't do anything about it, if we don't go out and vote, then there's no point. Like you can see on the back of our t-shirt, the message on the back of our t-shirt, if you don't go out and vote, then you have no voice you have no local standard to complain. So that is, I think, one of our most important points that we need to raise. We also need to work very hard on the policy for the local government election, so that the minister and all those people who have the power to make decisions for us will be able to make one very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Bev. Okay, we open up for questions. If you have any question, you can direct to any one of us, and we'd like to respond to you. Try to confine to this campaign, Vote Local, your questions, so that we can help you understand better the aim, the purpose of this campaign. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Aisha from HPE. So my question is, will you do this campaign on the ground? Because there will be concerns, like how would you convey a message to those without the internet access or those who live in rural areas? So how would you encourage them?
I think the internet penetration in Malaysia is quite strong. So actually, memang I rasa most of the campaign will be online and also media collaboration. So because campaign period is very short, okay? Well, we have 11 days exactly to polling day. So kita pun agak limited dari segi nak turun padang jumpa semua pengundi semua. But we try lah, like today for example, we gather all the different NGOs, I think. So it's not just bersih atau Astro AWANI thing. Memang rely on kerjasama rakan media, semua CSO, student groups, di-learn here. So memang kita perlukanlah kerjasama semua orang untuk membawa naratif ini bersama.
So mainly social media online, simply because time is an issue, and also we want to, with our limited resources, maximize the coverage. Any other questions? Ada soalan? You semua wanti?
Ogos?
Yep.
Yeah. Just basically your strategy came from BFF Radio. Your strategy to get people to come out and vote, that's pretty much laid out. I was just wondering what sort of narrative, what sort of messaging does Percy think will get people to actually come out and vote?
I think the good question. I mean, a lot of people couldn't quite see the importance of state election, and they have good reasons as well. Simply because state powers are so limited nowadays that they don't even have many sitting days. In some states, they sit in the whole year for slightly over 1 week only. 7 days, 8 days. That's all, one whole year. And yet they are elected representatives because there's very little state business. So people don't prioritize. We know that's the problem. But what we are trying to put forth now, the narrative, which is very factual, is that State government are the one who appoint our local authority. And what are local authority? Rubbish collection, local development, transportation, you know, maintenance of the communities, some security. These are all very, very local businesses, permits and license. You know, if they don't issue them properly or manage it properly, you can have all kind of businesses all over the place. So these are the very local issue that we face every day, and we are trying to put that message out. You know, you want better local services, local development, local business planning. Vote for a better government. Vote for a better government. Then you will start seeing those things happen. Yeah.
The other thing is, we do have a lot of people who reside out of state and perhaps even out of the country. Well, what sort of strategy would you get to encourage these people to return to where they're supposed to vote?
Yeah, you know, our country one is already over. We have postal voting for them. We have done our best. We don't know the numbers who actually sign up for postal voting yet. We wait for the EC to announce. So that is over. But for our station voters, you know, this election will be on a Saturday, and we believe it's important for our hometown, our local area. Then make plans to come back. Carpool together. If you have enough people in another state that want to go back, you can organize transportation. Now that's maybe a sensitive thing. Is it an election offense? The election offense comes when you provide busing, is when there is an element of campaigning involved. There's a condition attached to taking that bus, you know. But if you are organizing something that facilitates voter turnout without any precondition, we don't see any election offense in that. So these are the kind of efforts. But I think what they can really do is share our hashtag, vote local, and share our infographic on why it's important. You know, why it's important. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, I would like to elaborate a little bit on the Malaysia Kini question. You know, what I wanted to emphasize is kita selalu bezakan on the ground dengan online, dengan social media semua kan. Tetapi sebenarnya ground is online. The ground is online. You see G15, TikTok plays such a major role kan. So it's not that some pemudi tak dapat dicapai kerana tak ada akses internet. Just that whether you manage to reach them on the social media, on the algorithm and so on. So that's why we try to intervene through this platform. But I think we took your point that, you know, if everything is on the internet provider and whatnot, and Astro itself is also cable news. So what if orang tak ada Astro semua macam mana kan? So I think maybe we also like to take the opportunity to ask maybe state television, state media, for example bernama, boleh organize satu forum ataupun debat antara calon-calon MB. So tawarkan arena, tawarkan platform untuk parti-parti politik untuk mengubahkan calon MB dan debat apakah vision mereka untuk negeri itu dan untuk that state. So it's a state media, state TV, you have the capacity to do that, you have the resources to do that, and it's free, everybody boleh watch. Pergi rural mana pun lah ada TV kan. So I think that's a good opportunity, and maybe the minister in charge can also consider it.
Thank you, Prof. Any other questions? If not, we will take the group photo. Shall we?
Ya, kalau ada, kita jumpa rakan-rakan NGO untuk sama balik belakang, sama pegang plakat, ambil gambar.
I don't know what the machine by name.
Yeah, belakang.
Oh.
think we remain.
Kita pernah work making democracy work.
Pemerhati listrik juga kita ada pemerhati kita juga datang.
Hans can take photo first. Take photo first.